Welcome to another edition of Couch Chat. So, if you're watching this video, chances are I showed up in your algorithm at some point because you probably like to watch a lot of either men's content or dating content. Now, over here on this channel, I try to keep things pretty positive. I have an overall positive outlook about women, and I know that they're different from us and have different thoughts and feelings, and that can be very confusing at times when you're trying to learn how to date. But I think overall both sexes have merit to them, and so I really try to stress and give you guys lessons on like positive women that are out there and things you can do to better your dating life so you can find a great person who is out there. But that said, I have noticed that if you look on your TikToks, your Instagrams, even just your YouTubes, that a lot of the channels that are really popular are the ones where they're telling men, this is the men's channel, where they're telling men how sucky women are and how they don't make sense and how modern women today suck and they're responsible for all the ills of the world. And if they would just stop trying to chase after Chad and Tyrone in the top 10 or 20%, they'd get their way, yada, yada, yada. And it's not that there's not a level of that that's true, but I don't want you to think about that part. I want you to think about this. Why is it all these various systems, these various platforms so highly put into your face content that's telling you that all women suck? Like, it'd be different if like you had your own personal experience with women and based on that, you were able to say, man, I've tried to date like 1,000 women and every single one of them sucked. You know what? Women absolutely suck. Like, that would be one thing, right? But I noticed that overwhelmingly, most men's platforms in particular, the content that's most popular and that's being pushed is the stuff where it's like women suck and, all modern women are terrible and yada, yada, yada. And I had to think about like, why is it that's a thing? Why is it that they're basically trying to keep men single? Because that's what it's doing. Because think about it. As humans, we best react, we react strongly to negative things or things that we can argue against. So if we see a channel, for example, where it's all these guys telling women how much they suck and why they need to change and why they can't get anybody, for whatever reason, that content, like, we're more likely to gear towards negative content versus positive content. And so as a result, those channels blow up, they get into the algorithm, and then more people see that out. But what made me realize is this, is that these platforms are ultimately designed to be able to make money. And that means that they're going to push out whatever kind of content they need to that's going to keep people on their platforms. So if talking negatively and badly about women and how horrible they are is going to result in people watching videos longer and staying on these platforms longer, so that way advertisers can get in front of their faces a lot easier, then that's what they're going to push. And I say this because it's important to remember that ultimately you're a person doing this. All this stuff is propaganda. Like, even the stuff that I'm pushing out there is propaganda. Ideally, it's positive propaganda that's helping you see women in a different light and have different perspectives about how they are, so you won't be so mad about when they're acting in a way that you think is irrational or you don't understand, but it's still propaganda. But you got to think about, like, propaganda is designed to make you think in a certain way. So all these negative videos where guys and women are also talking about how, modern women today don't have their stuff together and yada, yada, yada. I got news for you, guy. That's the reason that it's staying in front of your face, is because you're watching it and they're seeing you watch for a long amount of time. And ultimately, all this stuff is designed to keep you single, because if you're single, you're going to focus on staying inside and watching these videos to make yourself feel better or to feel engaged. Like right now, you probably feel like you're having a conversation with me, even though we're actually not, because I'm the only one talking. But that's what these platforms are designed to do. They get psychologically into your head to make you feel as though there's a connection here, and therefore you don't need to go outside and try to build a connection. The other thing too is, like, back in the day, we used to have a thing called keyboard jockeys, where like if you stay on your computer long enough and listen to this stuff and watch it, you start to feel like you're an expert on it, to where you could probably like quote my stuff, quote Doc Love stuff, quote Corey Wayne stuff. You could type a whole thing in a forum about what guys should do to get dates. But even that, it's a way of your brain fooling you into thinking you know what you're doing, and therefore you don't have to actually go out into the world and prove to yourself that you know how to do this stuff. Because in your head, you know how to do it. And you're hearing people like me talk about it. Therefore, you hear it enough times, you start to think, I already know how this works, but you never have to actually go out and experience it. So these videos, like the videos I do for you guys, are great. But if you're not actually getting out there and practicing it, then this is another example of you're using knowledge that you're hearing and your brain's thinking, I've heard it, I've internalized it, therefore I know it, but you're not actually going out there and practicing it. Thus, you're still staying single. But all to say this is that these platforms want you to stay on them longer. And if that means feeding you content that's going to result in you like being mad at women to where you just stay inside because you're like, hey, I don't want to deal with women. They're all crazy. I'd rather just stay inside, watch YouTube, watch Instagram, stay on my phone, not ever have to interact with women, then you're never going to be able to get the love life that you could hypothetically get if you weren't being propagandized by all these platforms. Because I got news for you. Like YouTube doesn't care about you. Instagram doesn't care about you. TikTok doesn't care about you. And even if they have videos on there that seem well-doing and like, oh yeah, I'm going to explain to you the exact logical reason why women today can't get people and why you as a guy are totally fine, those videos are still designed to keep you on the platform and not have you leave the platform because they get more money if you're on the platform. So if you find yourself scrolling through YouTube and scrolling through Instagram for hours on end, looking at nonstop content about how women suck and how they're the devil and how they only want the top 10%ers and therefore you can't get anybody, well, that's going to get into your brain and say, why even try? I might as well just stay home and watch stuff on my phone. And that's where they got you. So just want to point that out. And hey, as a video content creator myself, I'd love for you to binge watch my videos if they're going to help you actually get women. But at some point, you got to get off the computer screen, guy, and go out there and actually try it out. So just wanted to point that out. But anyway, hopefully this video helps you out and encourages you to not focus so much on the negative videos that are on these platforms and really, honestly, like try to spend more time off these platforms and get out there and meet real women. Because I'm going to tell you, the hypothetical women that are being talked about in these videos versus you going out there and actually conversing with women and actually like seeing what your real reactions would be is going to be vastly different. Now, I will say you will definitely still get negative results from women if you don't actually know what to do in terms of how to approach them, how to talk to them, how to communicate with them in their language. If you need help with that stuff, I have a whole website that's dedicated to that, so you won't be such a bitter guy, and instead you'll be like, I now have the tools to actually use to go out there and get the results that I want. If you need help with that, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. That's all I got. I'm Harry Wilmington. I'll catch you guys on the next couch chat. I'm out. Peace.